The day after I caught Zhang Yichen cheating, there were no tears, no quarrels, and no humble pleas for him to stay. He remained calm and emotionless, as without a trace of guilt, and simply handed me a formal divorce agreement. His tone was blunt and ruthless, completely honest about his changed heart. He looked straight into my eyes and said coldly, "You once promised me that if I fell in love with someone else, you would never make a scene or cling to me. Lionlin, I have truly fallen for another woman. I cannot bear to let her be insulted as a homewrecker and endure the gossip of outsiders. As the second young master of the wealthy Zhang family and my husband of 3 years." Zhang Yichen had always been unrestrained and romantic. He loved fiercely and wholeheartedly when his heart was devoted, yet abandoned people without hesitation when his fate had never dragging his feet in relationships. He pulled out a pen and placed it gently in front of me, his brows faintly filled with impatience. "Why are you crying? Are you really reluctant to let me go? Don't worry, even after the divorce, all the property that belongs to you will never be taken away. We can still treat each other as family in the future." I stared blankly at the man in front of me, and painful old memories flooded my heart. 3 years ago, my ex-boyfriend abandoned me cruelly, leaving me in utter despair, with no will to live. It was Zhang Yichen who held me tightly in his arms in the middle of the night and swore solemnly that he would stay with me forever, protect me, and never leave me alone. Yet only 3 years had passed, and he had broken every single promise he had made. My throat felt tight and sore. I wanted to beg him softly, to tell him that I did not want his money, that I only needed him to stay with me for a little while longer, that I was in too much pain to hold on alone. But when I saw the obvious irritability and cold impatience in his eyes, all my words of pleading were swallowed back bitterly. I knew begging would be useless. I picked up the pen, lowered my eyes, and signed my name quietly and neatly. I had loved him with all my heart. Clinging to a doomed marriage for another month or two would only make him pity me and humiliate myself. It would tarnish the last good memories we had left. After I signed the paper, Zhang Yichen let out a quiet sigh of relief. However, mixed with his relief was a strange, unexplainable unwillingness. He frowned and muttered, "You signed it just like that? Did you never forget your ex-boyfriend? Are you rushing to go back to him? It was he who could not wait to end the marriage. Yet when I let go gracefully, he came inexplicably upset and restless. He wanted to say something, but finally held back his words. He folded the divorce agreement carefully and put it in his bag. His eyes were cold and faintly triumphant. She likes this wedding house very much. Please move out as soon as possible." Even the wedding room full of our memories was given away without a second thought. I was too tired to argue, too weak to fight. I simply nodded silently, let him do whatever he wanted. After all, I did not have much time left to live. Houses, money, and love meant nothing to me anymore. Zhang Yichen got exactly what he wanted and left quickly without looking back. He would never know that for the rest of his life, he would regret this cold choice deeply, sinking into endless remorse and never finding peace. He would never know that just 1 second before he took out the divorce papers, I had planned to tell him weakly that I had late stage cancer, that the doctor said I was dying, and that I only wished he could accompany me quietly through my final days. The next morning, Zhang Yichen came to pick me up to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau for divorce procedures. He could not wait even a single minute. His face was full of undisguised joy and excitement, happier than the day he knelt down to propose to me. While waiting in line, he tapped his foot impatiently and complained loudly that the divorce schooling -off period was an inhumane and useless system. As soon as we walked out of the bureau, he immediately called his new lover, his voice extremely gentle and doting. "It's all done. Just wait 1 month. Don't be sad. You can start choosing your favorite wedding dress now. I will buy you anything you like." After hanging up, he glanced at me casually, completely indifferent. "Take a taxi back by yourself. She is waiting for me. Don't go back to the wedding house. I will leave the Yashinji garden apartment for you to live in." He put on his windbreaker, jumped into his luxury sports car, and sped away instantly. I stood alone on the roadside, watching his car disappear into the distance. I gently touched my lower abdomen and made an appointment for an abortion. It was not that I did not love my unborn child, but I was dying of cancer. I could not give the baby a complete family, nor could I watch it grow up. A few days earlier, I had just found out I was pregnant and felt a glimmer of joy in my desperate life. On the exact same day, the doctor gave me a death sentence for late-stage cancer. The father of my child did not even know I was pregnant before rushing to another woman's side. Fate had always been cruel to me. The cancer pain spread through my bones, sharp and unbearable. My vision blurred and I could barely stand. At that moment, a low-key black luxury car stopped beside me. The window rolled down, revealing the cold, calm face of Zhang Yian, Zhang Yichen's elder brother, and my first love who had abandoned me 5 years ago. He looked at my weak, pale face and said coldly, "Get in. I will drive you home." I hesitated, but my body was too weak to resist. He grabbed my wrist firmly, pulled me into the car, and said in a strict tone, "Stop being sentimental, Lian Ling. I had loved Zhang Yian deeply when I was young. We had been engaged since childhood, but before our wedding he fell in love with Su W. Anning, broke off the engagement cruelly, and left me heartbroken. Later, his younger brother Zhang Yichen returned from abroad, comforted me and married me. I leaned against the car window and looked at the beautiful spring flowers blooming outside. The scenery was breathtakingly gorgeous, but I knew I would never see such a beautiful spring again. I only had about 1 month left to live. I remembered clearly the day I found out I was pregnant and terminally ill. I had wanted to find Zhang Yichen, to lean on his shoulder, to tell him how scared I was, to beg him to stay with me. I wandered around the underground parking lot of his company and finally gathered the courage to call him. Instead, I saw his car shaking ambiguously. I saw him cheating with my own eyes. When I lost my senses and approached him, he only pushed me away coldly and protected the disheveled woman in the back seat. He sent me home in a taxi without a single word of comfort. I waited for him all day and night, hoping for an explanation, hoping he would apologize and come back to me. I was ready to forgive any mistake, as long as he stayed with me in my final days. But he never called, never came back. He only returned the next night with a cold divorce agreement in his hand. Zhang Yan frowned and sneered coldly. "I told you long ago that Zhang Yichen is a selfish playboy. He takes what he wants and throws it away when he gets bored. He has never cared about anyone else's feelings." I replied weakly, too tired to argue. Deep in my heart, I knew Zhang Yian was no different. He had loved me once, then abandoned me without hesitation for another woman. Zhang Yian's tone turned sharp and bitter. "I thought you would cry and beg him not to leave, just like you begged me before. I never expected you to sign so easily." I whispered softly, "Begging is useless. People who want to leave will always leave, no matter how hard you hold on." Zhang Yian fell silent, recalling the past when I had knelt and begged him not to break our engagement. My life had always been bitter. My mother died of the same cancer when I was little. My father was a loyal driver for the Zhang family. He died protecting old Master Zhang from kidnappers on my 10th birthday. To repay my father's loyalty, the Zhang family adopted me and arranged my engagement with Zhang Yian. When I first entered school, a rich young lady bullied me, insulted my poor background, and slandered my dead father. I fought back bravely. Back then, Zhang Yian stood up for me in front of everyone, protected me fiercely, and drove the bully away. He was my only hero in my darkest childhood. For years, he took care of me, taught me lessons, spoiled me, and walked with me every day. Those were the happiest days of my life. Even when I wanted to hate him later, I could not forget his past kindness. Zhang Yian looked at me with complicated eyes. "Lian Ling, have you forgotten that you once loved me deeply?" I shook my head gently. "You have Su W. Anning now. I am married to your brother." Talking about old love is inappropriate. He pointed to our old high school outside the window, full of nostalgia, where it called our innocent teenage years. The secret handholds, the quiet companionship. The 18th birthday he spent with me at my parents' tomb, promising to protect me forever. Yet in the end, he threw our love away casually. A sharp wave of cancer pain hit me, and I moaned softly. Jung Yeon looked worried. Are you sad because Yi Chen left you? I shook my head, tears rolling down my cheeks. I am not sad about the divorce. I am sad that I am dying alone. No one in this world truly loves me. I failed at love. Failed at life. Jung Yeon's face turned pale with anxiety. He said hoarsely, he never loved you. My love for you has always been deeper and longer than his. I interrupted him weakly, exhausted. I am tired. Please take me to Yushinji Garden. I refused to go back to the Jong old house because Su W. Anning was there, and I did not want to disturb his lover. Jung Yeon did not insist. Recalled the past when we were punished for puppy love in high school. How he held my hand firmly in front of the whole school. How we once thought we would be together forever. Then he graduated, gained power in the Jong group, and suddenly told me he had never loved me, only felt obligated because of the engagement. He broke my heart completely. 5 years ago I saw him holding Su W. Anning intimately in the Jong group lobby. He looked at me with cold disgust and hid Su W. Anning behind him to protect her from being called a mistress. Later, Su W. Anning told me proudly that she was the young lady who had bullied me in school. She had always wanted to take Jung Yeon away from me. All the past schemes were revealed, and I gave up completely. After arriving at Yushinji Garden, I was weak and sick. Jung Yi-chen announced our divorce on social media. Someone commented that I was doomed to a lonely life. I silently liked the comment, and he deleted it immediately. A few days later, I was lying on the abortion operating table when Jung Yi-chen called impatiently, demanding that I move all my things out immediately because his new lover disliked my presence. After the operation, I was in extreme pain and bleeding. The nurse pitied me, remembering how Jung Yi-chen had once guarded me carefully over every minor illness. Now he was colder than ice. The doctor told me that imported special medicine could prolong my life for 1 more month and reduce my pain. But the medicine was expensive. I had money saved, but Jung Yi-chen had frozen all my bank cards to punish me for not apologizing to his lover. I gave up on living longer. Jung Yi-chen called me later, pretending to care about my health, but actually wanting to see if I would beg him for money. I spoke coldly and dismissed him. Jung Yeon also called, begging to see me. I refused firmly. On the day of the divorce schooling -off period end, I dressed up beautifully, wore my favorite dress, and went to the Civil Affairs Bureau calmly. Unexpectedly, Jung Yi-chen drove over with Jung Yeon sitting in the back seat, both coming to make sure I would not change my mind. During the drive, Jung Yi-chen chatted casually as if nothing had happened, asking me to cook for him again, acting affectionate and familiar. I replied coldly, telling him to ask Su W. Anning instead. At the bureau, everyone looked shocked because I was smiling peacefully while getting divorced. When signing, Jung Yi-chen suddenly held my hand. Hesitating, I pulled away and signed without hesitation. After getting the divorce certificate, I tore up our marriage certificate without emotion. Jung Yi-chen looked furious. I said goodbye politely and turned to leave. Jung Yeon stood behind me and asked if I still had feelings for his brother. My emotions suddenly collapsed. Blood rushed out of my mouth, and I fainted on the spot. I woke up in the hospital with Jung Yeon crying beside my bed. He knew everything about my cancer and my miscarriage. He held my hand tightly and begged me to marry him, saying he had regretted abandoning me for 5 years. I smiled weakly and refused. It was too late. I sent him away to fetch my mother's silver earrings, my only family relic. Then I arranged my own funeral, took my last savings, and walked quietly to my parents' cemetery. I lay down beside their graves peacefully, watching the beautiful spring flowers, and left the world without sorrow or regret. When Jung Yeon returned empty-handed, he lost his mind searching for me. Finally, he found my tomb and spent the rest of his life alone, guarding my grave in endless regret. Jung Yi-chen only learned about my death after returning from his honeymoon. He went crazy with grief and guilt. He found out I had cancer, had an abortion alone, and died because he had frozen my medicine money. He realized he had actually loved me all along but had destroyed everything with his own hands. In the end, he committed suicide in despair, coming to the afterlife to apologize to me. All late regrets can never bring back a life. All belated love is meaningless.